Hi guys, Cinzer here, and welcome to another Shadowlands Alpha video. In this video, I'm going to go over a quick look, well, as quick as it can be, on the Enhancement Shaman. So there were some substantial changes to Enhancement Shaman. I don't know if I would call it a complete rework, but with taking Maelstrom out now and returning them back to mana, and with weapon imbuements are back, more totems that are made baseline, and it definitely plays much better. It feels like this is what they had in mind for the rework they were going to do in BFA, but then didn't get to it. And I can just say, after going over, and playing Enhancement a little bit in BFA and then coming to Shadowlands, it feels much better. You feel like an Enhancement Shaman. You're, powering up your weapons, making them elemental weapons. You're putting totems down now. You have more utility because like healing stream is back. Um, it feels good. And some of the talent changes, almost all the talent changes, feel meaningful. It's just this is great. That's all I gotta say. This is great, and definitely one of the classes I'm looking at to main. I'm gonna go over again other classes, but so far feels good. And overall, this video is definitely going to be longer because there's just a lot more to go over, especially in the talent section than like my previous monk video. But uh, yeah, I think it's worth it. So anyway, now let's get to all the actual changes for Shaman, Enhancement Shaman. So let's start with the skill changes, things that were made baseline or added back, and then actual skill changes, and then finally the talent changes. So there's a lot of stuff that's changed. One of the biggest things that especially older shaman players will notice is they have weapon imbuements back. Flame Tongue and Wind Fury. As the Wind Fury weapon works just the same as Wind Fury passive does in BFA. The only difference is now it's you imbue your weapon, so you actually have to select the ability, put it on your weapon, and then for 60 minutes you have the Wind Fury um, effect, which just gives you a chance to do extra attacks. And now Flame Tongue is back, and it's a little bit different than the way Flame Tongue works. But I'll go over that in a minute. But again, you put that on your offhand weapon. The one thing that's weird though is Flame Tongue lasts for 30 minutes and Wind Fury lasts for an hour. So I don't know why they do that. It makes it a little awkward to imbue your weapons. But it looks cool. I just wish it lasts the same amount. They should both be 60 minutes. But anyway, so now let's go over some stuff that's made baseline. Totems. Lots of totems are back. So now two new totems, not two new totems, but two totems that were made baseline for Shaman, specifically Enhancement Shaman, now are Searing Totem and Healing Stream Totem. Searing Totem used to be for um, Elemental, and Healing Stream used to be for Restoration. So now, you have two new totems that you can put down. Like Searing Totem is a fire totem that does damage to nearby people, so you'll always be using that in your rotation. And then Healing Stream, for a little bit of extra healing that you can put down. So it's just nice to have some extra utility and, feel like a shaman again by putting totems down. And then, of course, they've also added back Wind Fury Totem. So just, you put that down for your party members basically, and it'll give them a chance to do extra attacks, just like your own Wind Fury abilities. So beyond that, because Maelstrom is gone completely, they changed Maelstrom weapon. So before it used to grant Maelstrom your attacks, and they used to give you Maelstrom back. Now they give you a stack of Maelstrom weapon, and each stack reduces the cast time of your next damage or healing spell by 20%. So at 5 stacks, it'll make your next cast time ability instant. And that goes again with the other changes. Lightning Bolt is still in, but you would normally not use it. But they also made Chain Lightning baseline as well. So basically now you have a very different playstyle of you're attacking, you're building up your Maelstrom weapon, and then at at 5 stacks, now you can use Lightning Bolt, for instance, for a single target DPS or chain lightning. So it's nice that you going back and forth basically between just attacking your melee weapons, building up this Maelstrom weapon, then hitting with a casting time ability. And again, it works for healing as well. So now you can use Healing Surge for some survivability, or the chain heal is also baseline. So any of these casting abilities that have cast times, they'll become instant at 5 stacks, and it also kind of goes with one of the talents that I'll mention later. So one thing that's been changed, Stormbringer. Oh, it's an enhancement. Um, it works similarly. It doesn't, there's no Maelstrom involved, but it doesn't increase your damage of Storm Strike like it used to. But it'll still have a chance to reduce the remaining cooldown and not trigger a cooldown. So, that's good. Let's see what else has been added baseline. I believe that's it. And yes, Flame Shock. Flame Shock is also added baseline. So, that's pretty nice. And then Crash Lightning. Yeah, Crash Lightning still works the same way. It'll allow you to, cause your Storm Strike and Lava Lash to damage multiple targets. But yeah, there was a lot like the totems, the change to the system with no Maelstrom, a lot of stuff added. It feels more like enhancement used to. It actually feels like an enhancement shaman. You're enhancing your weapons, you're powering them up. You're granting yourself a chance to use actual range abilities instantly, or cast time abilities instantly. It feels really good. Um, and then Lightning Shield is now baseline as well, so that's something you can only have one shield at a time, but that's just 30 minutes you'll do that, and people will just a little bit of, it's not defensive, it's just it'll do extra damage to anybody that attacks you. So not a huge thing, but it being baseline is kind of nice. So let's go over the talents now, because this also changes things dramatically. Even without the talents here, I only have one talent actually that gives me a new ability that I chose. So even without that, if you can kind of see the bars down here, not counting the Covenant ability, there's a lot of stuff. Flame Shock being back, Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning actually being used, having Healing Stream and Searing Totem back, having Wind Fury Totem. So another thing you might notice is there's no more Frostbrand, but it is what it is. So there's a lot of stuff here to do even without the extra. So one thing I want to go over is with talents. I'm gonna go over each row individually, but overall I want to show you that there's a lot of active abilities, and I think every single row has some sort of active ability that you can pick. So you could pick Elemental Blast, you can pick Totemic Mastery, you can do Earth Shield, though I don't know how well that would be, but hey, it might be good. You can pick Searing Assault or Overcharge, you can pick Feral Lunge or Windrush Totem, now Stormkeeper, Sundering. You can literally add 1, 2, I don't count that row really, 3, sort of 4, 5, 6 new active abilities, 6 extra abilities on top of everything else. That's a lot of stuff, and in my opinion, it's a little overwhelming if you do it that way, but it is possible. But let's start with the first row. So Boulder Fist is still there, reduces the recharge time, and then does extra damage, and yeah, works the same way as in Legion. I mean, not Legion, BFA. So the difference on this row is in live, Hot Hand and Lightning Shield are on this row. But since Lightning Shield is now Now, baseline, they took that out and they moved Hot Hand to the second row, so you can actually use Boulder Fist and Hot Hand at the same time if you want. And then they switched Forceful Winds, which used to be in the second row, to the first row. Now, Elemental Blast has been added in, and that used to be a elemental only talent. So, and this is really nice because it's a cast time ability and it does damage and it increases your your secondary stats. But because it's a cast time ability, you can use your Maelstrom stacks, so you can make that an instant cast ability. And um, in a later talent, Overcharge, which instantly gives you 5 Maelstrom stacks, it's a pretty good synergy between those two. So you can like start off a battle, use Overcharge. Now you have instantly have 5 stacks of Maelstrom, and then go into Elemental Blast. Or you can just start off with Elemental Blast before the pool, use Overcharge for a Lightning Bolt, and then go into your melee rotation. So it's really nice to see that kind of synergy going out. And another thing that kind of makes your shaman, like the Enhancement Shaman, unique, whereas you have these abilities, like you have these melee abilities, you are a melee spec, but you also will be weaving in ranged attacks as well, and stuff that's not a part of the normal rotation. Um, but yeah, and then Forceful Winds just increases the damage of Wind Fury, and it stacks up to 5 times. So each Wind Fury attack within 15 seconds will increase the damage of Wind Fury by 50%. So second row, Landslide works the same, I believe, 40%, 100%. Yeah, works the same. And Hot Hand works the same, I think. Actually, no, Hot Hand is a little bit different. Melee auto attacks have a 5% chance to reduce the cooldown of Lava Lash by 75%, and then increases damage by 100% for 8 seconds. So yeah, that's a little bit different because in BFA, it just makes it so that your melee attacks will have a chance to make your next Lava Lash not cost Maelstrom and do 100% damage. So this is actually a better version of Hot Hand, and I've been playing with Hot Hand. I started with Totem Mastery, which is the old it was in BFA, but it's just you put totems down basically, and then they give you extra effects, which was fun, and I actually liked using that. But I really like the new Hot Hand. It's really nice because not only does it come up reduce the cooldown, but it does more damage for 8 seconds. It'll have a reduced cooldown. So like for 8 seconds, your Lava Lash is hitting harder, and you're able to do it more frequently. It's so satisfying when that procs. So this is my favorite talent in this row, and one that I will usually pick. And that's another thing that I want to go over is most of the talents feel good. Most of the talents feel impactful. And one talent, of course, when numbers are added, balance and all this stuff, there might be clear, better talents. But right now, at least when it comes to the attacking talents, almost all of them feel great. Having Rockbiter have a reduced cast time and do more damage feels good. When you have that mixed with Hot Hand, you're using your melee abilities more often. It feels faster. You can go really all in on your melee abilities, or you can go with Landslide, which increases the damage of your next Storm Strike. So now you're using Rockbiter more if you have Boulder Fist, and then that'll cause your Storm Strikes to hit stronger. So that's a lot of stuff there. Or if you want Wind Fury, your extra Wind Fury attacks to do more. You can pick that, or the Elemental Blast. Like each one of these, I think are very nice. If you want more complexity, if you want more, stuff that you can do, you have that choice. But you also have the passive choice, and the passive choice still feel good too. Second row, all these actually seem nice. I just like Hot Hand more, but if you want your totems back, or if you want the extra totems back, you can pick that. It's good. But yeah, sorry to go on a rant on that. The next row is just your typical utility row. I actually haven't used Earth Shield, but you can only have one elemental shield active at a time. This Earth Shield wouldn't necessarily be bad for leveling and stuff, but yeah, it's it's not something you probably would pick, but yeah, I'm not really gonna go over this row. It's just utility stuff. Now, this row is pretty different as well. So, Hailstorm is completely different. I think Hailstorm was in BFA. Yeah, yeah. Hailstorm in BFA had to do with Frostbrand and causing your weapon to do extra frost damage. But since Frostbrand's not in here now, it just makes Storm Strike reset the cooldown of your shock spells. I tried it a little bit. It wasn't as noticeable. It's definitely good in AOE situations because you can every time you use Storm Strike, you'll be able to reset the cooldown of Flame Shock. You'll be able to get more Flame Shocks out. But I didn't really use Frost Shock, and they share the same cooldown. So I think the only reason you would really use Frost Shock is if you literally need to reduce movement speed. That's the only reason to use it. Because Flame Shock is going to do more damage. Like even not counting the additional damage, it still does base damage more than Frost Shock. So Searing Assault will hit with your offhand weapon, and then for the next 10 seconds, your Searing Totem will attack 100% faster, and your Flame Shock period is reduced. So it's just, yeah, it basically makes Flame Shock and Searing Totem a lot stronger. And an Overcharge is what I was talking about before. Instantly gives you 5 Maelstrom stacks, and then you'll gain an extra Maelstrom stack every second for 10 seconds. So this whole row is completely different. And again, they feel different. I mean, they feel like you actually would make a choice in this row. I prefer Searing Assault and Overcharge, even though Hailstorm is passive and it can be nice. But I would probably rather pick one of those two. So that's nice if you want the extra, Searing Totem and Flame Shock damage, or if you want to use more Maelstrom stuff. So all valid choices. Another utility row. Not really anything's changed here. And then this row is slightly different. Crashing Storm works the same way. Just make sure Crashing Storm do more. But instead of it was like Fury of Air, I think, which is a talent I never used. I think it was an AoE. Yeah, it was an AoE damage ability and slowed people down, but I didn't really use it. And that's been changed with Stormkeeper. So, which is really interesting because Stormkeeper used to be it was the elemental Legion ability, artifact ability. So now they made it into a talent for elemental and BFA, and now it's a talent for enhancement as well. And it just causes your next 2 lightning bolts or chain lightnings to do extra damage and be instant cast. So you can see the kind of theme here that you can go. Like you can really go in like half melee, half range. You pick Stormkeeper, Overcharge, Elemental Blast. You're gonna be using your these a lot stronger. And you can kind of like Overcharge a Stormkeeper, for instance. You can like kind of combine those to that's a good burst phase, really. Like you can start with Stormkeeper, get 2 free lightning bolts, like instant cast lightning bolts to do a lot of damage. Then you can like pop Overcharge, and so now you can do another lightning bolt or Elemental Blast. Or you can do Overcharge, Elemental Blast, and then go right into lightning bolts. So it's a lot of ranged stuff that you can do now. And then Sundering is just the AoE, which I always just love the way Sundering looks, but yeah. Finally, the last row is, I believe this row is actually the same. Yeah. Yeah, this row is actually the same as in live, but again, other abilities, Earth and Spike will increase your physical and nature damage done to them, which can be even more impactful now because of Elemental Blast and all this other stuff. So there's a lot of choices here, and I did play with all 3 of these talents on this row, even though they're the same as in BFA. They all felt good. Like almost every row, like this is how all talents should be. I think for every spec, where they actually feel impactful, they feel good, and there's not a clear winner. In terms of numbers, once again everything gets balanced, maybe there'll be a clear winner. But right now, it just feels really good, and it just feels good to play. It's just, yeah, Shaman is definitely, Enhancement Shaman is very much improved from live, and right now is definitely in the running of one of the um, two classes I plan on maintaining. Since I raid on both Horde and Alliance, I'm going to, raid. I plan on raiding on two different classes, and Shaman is definitely up there. Of course, I've only extensively played Shaman and Monk, but both of them feel really good, and I can definitely see myself maining both of them. But I'm going to go over um, other melee classes as well, and as many classes as I can. So that's all I wanted to go over for the Shaman, Enhancement Shaman in the current state of Alpha. And again, I'm gonna go over the Covenant abilities, but I wanted to wait until all of them were out so I can kind of do just one video for each, spec, comparing all of them. But that's all I wanted to say for now. If you liked the video, please give a like, subscribe for future videos, and as always, thanks for watching.